All right, gang, time to go over some 16.1 strategies. So we just filmed and posted up our warm-up video, so if you want to go check that out on our YouTube page or the CrossFit For Glory Facebook page, some really good stuff there to make sure that you guys are nice and warmed up, ready for 16.1. Strategy-wise, so obviously the CrossFit community that is competing, 99.9% of them are not going really to advance beyond the open stage, but this is what it's all about. So a lot of this stuff is going to be geared towards the vast majority of you guys that are out there, the vast majority of our gym members, but we're also going to pepper in a lot of stuff for the more competitive athletes as well. So stay tuned for everything. Question number one that we get, am I going to do RX or scaled? You got chest to bar pull-ups. If you don't got chest to bar pull-ups, do the scaled workout. If you feel like maybe you can get a couple of rounds in, maybe you can do a few singles here and there for chest to bar, complete 2, 3, 4 rounds, yeah, go ahead and give it a shot, you know, Friday night or Saturday, whenever your affiliate's doing it, rest on Sunday, and then maybe come back on Monday and try to do the scaled version. If you do the scaled version first, don't plan on doing anything else for a couple of days because it's going to smash you, all right? If maybe, again, same conversation, if you can do them halfway decent, it's up to you. If you got chest to bar pull-ups pretty well, obviously we advocate for you to do the RX version of the workout, provided that the overhead walking lunge is not going to be a killer for you. Lunges, simple, go unbroken. Of all the people that we've seen go through this workout, scaled and RX, with one exception, they have done all of the lunges unbroken. All right, go through the lunges unbroken. It's super expensive for you if you don't. Please, for the love of all things holy, make sure that you and your judge communicate that when you get across that final line that it's a good rep before you drop that bar. It is heartbreaking to see somebody have to get called back to that previous line over and over and over. Make sure your heels, both of them, are side by side across the tape, everything controlled, locked out, before you set that bar down, whether you're going front rack or overhead. Burpees. Go slower than you think that you need to, all right? The girls in the open announcement show, 2 games veterans, all right? They posted a round of like 1:20 and ended up dropping all the way to 1:50. So if you are under 2 minutes a round, unless you know some really, really good competitors are watching this, which thank you, you are going too fast, all right? At 2 minutes per round, you're putting up 10 rounds. We haven't seen that yet, and I don't presume, at least in this gym, that we're going to see 10 rounds come through. I really hope that a lot of people shock us, but 10 rounds plus is very good, so just keep that in mind. What you want to think about is when you're going through those first couple rounds is, man, this feels too slow, all right? Another tip on the burpees, minimize that eccentric motion. What I mean is don't kick your feet out and then control yourself down to the ground. Think about somebody pulling the carpet out from under you and minimize this piece, that downward motion, the eccentric, all right? When you come up, just get to full extension and then you can either step up, which we'll talk about later, or if you are really, really, really good at burpees, you can pop your feet up and then hop over the bar. Also, make sure you hop with 2 feet over that bar. You don't want to have to redo that rep. Pull-ups, very simple formula of figuring out how many you should do. All right, if you're going chest to bar. If you're going chest to bar pull-ups and you have less than 30 unbroken chest to bars, break your pull-ups from the start. All right, do descending sets. You know, do a set of 6 and a set of 2. You know, a set of 4, 3, and a single. If you're doing jumping pull-ups, the scaled version, go. Get 8 done and get back to your lunges and burpees because that's what your entire workout is about anyways, the lunges and the burpees, all right? If you're going chest to bar, even if you're going singles, which is a very good option, all right, control your rest. Have a plan on the clock for how quickly you're going. A chest to bar pull-up takes about a second, so that's 8 seconds of work. You don't need to rest for 60 seconds in between each burpee. It's drop down, gather yourself, 3, 2, 1, hit another one, or another double, or something like that. All right, so we've kind of gotten those things out of the way. Next, equipment considerations in terms of what you guys are going to be doing. not taking into account the barbell, 35-pound bar versus a 15-pound bar with 10-pound plates on it for ladies. Should be obvious which option to choose. Empty bar. But what I mean is you, the athlete, what are you going to be wearing? Knee sleeves or knee wraps? Yes. Protect your knees. Make sure that that back knee makes contact every time. Protect your knees, that way you don't have to worry about it. Wrist wraps. If you're going overhead, I would recommend wrist wraps. Just be sure when you start to get into the burpee that you loosen the wrist wraps just a tad. If loosening or messing with your wrist wraps is going to take 10-15 seconds every round, don't worry about it. All right, go with the what we call the Lego man grip, where you don't wrap the thumb around, let it sit kind of at the base of your palm, and hold that bar like that. Tape grips for your hands for the pull-ups. Take care of your hands, especially if you're thinking a redo is possible. Chalk. Use it. Have it close by. Make sure it's ready. Weightlifting shoes. I haven't seen anybody mention this yet. Definitely don't wear running shoes or what we call the big squishy shoe. You're liable to roll an ankle, especially if you're going overhead walking lunges. They start to get unstable. Consider wearing weightlifting shoes. A lot of stability there. You'll be nice and set in stone whenever you take a good step forward. So just a quick consideration. Before we get to the really important stuff, we're actually going to skip ahead and go to bar position. All right. If you're going overhead walking lunge, make sure that you're not holding the bar out in front of you like this. Get that bar set overhead and even slightly back as you start to take your steps. It'll be way easier to maintain that balance. Also, lock your elbows out. If you're going like this, fighting that position, your elbows, your arms are going to get smoked. So make sure good elbow lockout, pull that bar back, get bone stacked on top of bone, and let it ride from there. Grip width. Here's an easy one. Lots of stability, but it takes a lot of flexibility in the shoulders. Lack of stability, all right, but it opens up the flexibility for the shoulders. Everyone's going to be different in your warm-up. Play with different grip positions. Go with what is most comfy to you. And finally, the little details. What we say is the everything is everything. All these little things add up to seconds over the course of this workout, all right, so consider it. If you're competing, again, please make sure you follow all the rules and have a fair and honest judge with you. Somebody who's not afraid to tell you, no rep. Make sure everything is in view of the camera. Do not go out too fast. Do not go out too fast. Transitions matter. They matter big time, all right? Make sure that when you go out for your lunges, you're going away from your pull-up bar, do your burpees there, and then lunge back towards your pull-up bar. That's how we have everything set up at our gym. Start your burpees, all right, on the opposite side of where you drop that bar. So if you drop the bar, step over, start your burpees there, so that when you come back and do number 8, boom, I jump over the bar. Now I can start my walking lunges back instead of having to jump again, all right, to get back to the other side of the bar to start your lunges. There's a technique to chest-to-bar singles. We show this to everybody in our gym. If you want to see it, reach out to us. We'll be glad to show you. Basically, you're jumping into that big, heavy arch position and using that momentum to pull your chest up to the bar. Practice that. It does take a special technique. If you're going to go singles, it's a very, very good way to get them out of the way. Measure out your steps in your warm-up, all right? Count and be conservative. Take shorter steps than you think you're going to be able to in the workout. Count how many steps it's going to take. If your affiliate will let you, mark your steps, all right, on the floor with chalk or colored tape or something that you can see so that your foot is hitting that same spot every single time. I promise you, because we've seen it happen, if you count out 7 steps and you're taking these big, long strides in your warm-up, it's not going to work that way in the workout. Once you start to fatigue, your stride is going to shorten, especially if you're going with an overhead walking lunge. It gets a lot less stable overhead. So make sure of that. All right. The burpees that we talked about, you can do the step back style. So you, instead of jumping back, you can just go down to the bottom, step your feet back, stepping back up, and over the bar. All right. So that would be not hopping. And then last tip is when you are going overhead walking lunge or front rack walking lunge, we found this to work really, really well, is to almost bring your feet together, but not quite to a complete stop, but almost tap and then go right into your next step. The reason for this, it does add an element of stability. You don't want your feet here, all right, but just slightly apart. It adds a little bit of stability. It gets you into a really good rhythm, all right, so you can kind of go left, tap, left, tap, right. And then it also helps with your breathing pattern. If you can think, breathe out, breathe in, depending on if you're stepping or tapping your feet together at the top. This is what we got, guys. 16.1, 20 minutes. Don't go out too fast. Pace yourself. Think that you're going a little bit too slow to open it up, and you're going to do great. If you got questions, let us know. We're here for you.